This is David Penzer overlooking Times Square in beautiful New York City. I'm with Devin the Hannibal Nicholson, and we are talking about the Hannibal TV Live. First ever, a brand new concept from the HannibalTV.com with Brian Knobbs, one of the If you're going to do a live event and you're going to try something new, the guy to do it with is definitely Brian Knobbs. It's Saturday, May 11th at 2:30 at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa. That's Saturday, May 11th, 2:30, Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, Canada. And does Knobbs have a passport to get into Canada?
He does, and apparently, unlike some other wrestlers, like I guess Haku, unfortunately can't get into Canada, he said he's never had a problem getting into Canada, so it could be very interesting. Actually, one fan who heard about this show commented, "This is going to ruin your career, Hannibal. Don't do it." But I think I agree with you that if there's one guy to test out this live concept of the Hannibal TV in a talk show format in front of a live audience, it would be Knobbs. But I have to admit something. I did that shoot interview with him in Florida, where you're from, Tampa, not too long ago, and he did say he wanted me to not put in some of the questions that I asked. So in front of a live crowd, you can't go back on a question, right?
So he had you edit out stuff?
He did, yes.
Well, that doesn't sound like the Brian Knobbs I know. He usually just lets it all flow.
Oh, please don't cause no issues with that. Is there any way I know you can delete that son of a bitch right now?
So tell me about the new concept.
Well, it's going to be me and the guests in front of the live audience. It's going to be more comedic. It's going to be more funny stories. Of course, there will be some serious stuff, but it's going to be entertaining. There's going to be opportunities for fans to meet the wrestlers before and after the show. I'll be signing autographs, taking pictures, as well as Knobbs and future guests. We're looking at Teddy Hart as another future guest.
Oh, geez. How do you follow up Brian Knobbs? Teddy Hart, ladies and gentlemen.
And the thing that's very special about this, too, is the last few minutes of the show, there's probably going to be about a 10 to 15 minute fan question and answer period where the fans will get to ask the wrestlers that are appearing on the show questions, so they can ask them anything. And the other thing is, the wrestlers can drink if they want. So you were talking to me earlier, was Knobbs drinking during a shoot interview? Everyone's asking that. Well, I don't talk about whether wrestlers are drinking or not in their interviews. I don't care if they do or not, but I can tell you that Knobbs was not drunk. And at this concept, it's going to be an Absolute Comedy in Ottawa. It is a bar, so if fans want to buy him drinks during the show,
you go. Put the idea in his head. That's his gimmick.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting.
I don't think the guy's bought a drink in 20 years out of his own money.
I would believe that because he actually went out with me after the shoot interview, and I was just telling you, I went out to a bar with him, and he actually blew his nose in a Kleenex and went to a couple, a male and a woman, sitting beside us, showed him the contents of that Kleenex, and said, "Do you think I'm sick?" So, as you said, he is really nasty. And one thing that I was shocked at to learn that I didn't know until I became friends with you is this guy actually runs Legends of Wrestling, which is a huge company, huge show coming up in Detroit that you're involved with the business end of. This is a huge company. Ric Flair appears for it, David Arquette, Bret Hart. Can you tell us about how is there another side of him that I don't know?
Not really. What you see is what you get. He came up with a concept and he sold it originally to the Tampa Bay Rays. He was like the mascot for a couple of years. And he would cheer the Rays on, and he's Brian Knobbs, so he drinks and he gets drunk and does stupid stuff, and the crowd loves him no matter what he does. So he sold this concept to the Tampa Bay Rays, and it went over really well. So a couple of years later, he picked up a partner who's an attorney who he had trained to be a wrestler, and whose career ended up ending early due to injury. And they formed the company, and they've done shows in Shea Stadium. They do shows for the Miami Marlins, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, casinos, bat mitzvahs. Some of them are just one wrestler and an appearance at a bar mitzvah, and some like the one in Detroit coming up is wrestling and Q&As and talent, and him and Frank run the whole thing, but no, it's not like you see a different Brian Knobbs, like he dashes into a phone booth like Superman and puts on a coat and tie. No, what you see is what you get, and it works for him, and And you know, he's a fun-loving enough guy that his quirks don't hurt him, to where if I said and did some of the stuff that as an as an executive that he does, it wouldn't probably go over so well. But because he is nasty boy Brian Knobbs, it's almost expected of him and encouraged.
And when is that card in Detroit for any fans watching?
That is Saturday, April 20th.
And I got to ask you, Dave, you've known Knobbs a long time, much longer than I've known him. You've known him since WCW in the mid to early 90s. I think he came in 93 or 94. What's your funniest Brian Knobbs story?
You know, I was thinking about that, and I don't have one that really stands out. Every night is a funny Brian Knobbs story. It's just they all blend together. So it's, you know, how he acts is how he lives, and how his gimmick is how he lives, and that's just Brian Knobbs. So I guarantee you, for those who come out to Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, you're going to be in for the time of your life, and I guarantee you, be ready to buy him drinks.
Anything can happen. It's going to be live. The Hannibal TV in Ottawa, Saturday, May 11th, 2:30 p.m. Be there!
I had a great time with Hannibal. He's a crazy bastard. If you ever meet him, he has scars all over his hair. He looks like Frankenstein, but hey, I love him.